What's up guys, welcome back to a brand new video on Lexalexus. Today it is more championship score predictions. This week we've made it to week 33. We had a lot of midweek games that I will be mentioning when I do my predictions today. We've got a lot to cover today. In terms of prediction league, it's now up to date. So you'll be able to see the updated prediction league on my latest community tab. It should appear to you guys just before the video came out today. A slightly earlier time for a video today because I'm aware we've got a Friday night game. So we're going to make sure we get these predictions in as quickly as possible. If you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. Let's go for 30 likes, as you can see for the target here. Let's see if we can get it. That would be absolutely amazing. You guys have been smashing it with the likes on the score predictions videos quite recently. Please do hit that subscribe button as we are trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. We're just over halfway there. It'd be absolutely amazing if we can get there before the end of the season. And please also share the channel too. All the things are going to really help as well. But that's everything covered. Make sure you also get your score predictions in the comments down below as well, so you guys have a chance to enter the football prediction league. But other than that, we've got a lot to cover today. Let's start predicting this weekend's championship games. Let's start off with Cardiff and Reading. As I mentioned, this is our Friday night game. And what an important win it was for Cardiff to finally end that awful winless run they were at. And they were lingering right near the bottom three. And based on results, they really could have started getting dragged into it if they not got that win, you know, within 1 or 2 games time. But alas, they did get this win, and away win against Birmingham as well, where Birmingham are proving to be quite a frustrating side because we saw how well they played at home against a very informed West Brom team. But then we contrast that here, where they were completely out-battled and they did lose out on the game by 2-0. Can Cardiff carry this on and beat Reading here? Well, Reading have actually got the second worst away record in the whole entire league. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility for Cardiff to get something in this game, where Cardiff, I do feel at home, have not been particularly great. I mean, Cardiff have not been particularly great recently, to be honest. But maybe this one win now could see Cardiff go into a right direction. And bearing in mind that, as I mentioned, Reading not having a great away record, I am therefore going to actually predict that Cardiff get back-to-back wins. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Cardiff, but I think it's going to be a close game. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Millwall versus Sheffield United. So, based on the results from midweek, this is actually quite an interesting game now. So, Millwall lost out a little bit with their top 6 host because they lost out to Coventry away from home with a 1-0 defeat. Sheffield United, they played also in midweek, but they lost at home at Bramall Lane. Not often have they lost at Bramall Lane this season, but Middlesbrough ran circles around them. Akpom and Archer, the double A, functioning like double A batteries, just being absolutely efficient, and they are definitely driving Middlesbrough as far as they can. Millwall at the moment, they need to try and respond to potentially reignite some hopes of the top 6. Sheffield United will want to bounce back after dropping points away from home, and that's actually the second consecutive away game where they drop points away from home. As a prediction for this game, following the fact that Millwall have actually drawn quite a lot at home quite recently, and the fact that Sheffield United have not been picking up too many wins away from home quite recently, I'm actually going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think both teams will cancel each other out. I think Sheffield United are going to find it very difficult to get 3 points at the Den. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw and play it safe. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. Next game today is Blackburn versus Swansea City. So both of these teams have been meandering with their form, but Blackburn in particular have been struggling as they are winless in their last 5 games. They've not won a game since New Year's Day, actually. So that period is just stretching that ever bit longer. So Blackburn definitely need to pick up more points. However, having said that, they've actually only played 2 home games in 2023, league games at least as well. For Swansea, they've been kind of here and there with their consistency. They would win the odd one week and then they lose dramatically in the other one. I think another mad game that I thought about was their 4-3 defeat at Birmingham, where that really could have swung either way, to be honest. They responded by getting a home win against Blackpool, but they did have to be aided with having an extra man on the pitch with Charlie Patino getting red carded for Blackpool. And despite that, Blackpool actually took the lead. But it was a brilliant comeback for Swansea to then pick up all 3 points. Great resilience on their part there. With this game and predictions, this is tough. Because I feel Blackburn do have strengths at home. I think they do play much better at home. It's the fact that Blackburn have not won for quite a while, which is making me reluctant to back them. And I think Swansea, a little bit similar with Stoke in a way, are quite inconsistent with their form. So it really could go either way. I'm actually going to give Blackburn the benefit of a doubt based on performances I've seen from home. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Rovers. But I think it's actually going to be a really tight game here. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game is Blackpool and they play Stoke City. So I just mentioned Blackpool losing out to Swansea. What a really cruel way for them not to get anything at all in this game. Mick McCarthy is definitely making things very tricky. But I think Blackpool were already in a really desperate situation. They now find themselves bottom of the league. It's not impossible for them to escape the predicament that they find themselves, and they can get out of it, most definitely. I do think the bottom part of the table is really close this year. But right now, we're match day 33. You know, the games are now slowly but surely starting to run out. And the clock will be ticking, especially if Blackpool don't pick up any wins in the next couple of games or so, because they'll start increasing a gap between them and getting safe, of course. With Stoke City, they've actually improved their form quite substantially recently, actually. You know, I don't feel like they're any danger of getting relegated now, in my opinion. I think now it's just seeing where can they finish. Can they finish in decent mid-table position? Can they finish the season on high? And maybe they will try and carry that on to next year. Because right now, it just feels like another underwhelming season for Stoke. It's not mathematically impossible for them to get into the top 6. But do I see the chances of it happening? I don't think so. I think the chances are very small. I think despite this though, I still would back Stoke in this game. I think Blackpool and Mick McCarthy not quite working at the moment. They're not getting those wins over the line as of yet. I feel like if there's any game that Blackpool could win, it could be this one, with Stoke really not having too much to play for. But I think Stoke are playing some decent stuff at the moment. So as a prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-0 away victory to Stoke. They had a brilliant midweek win against Huddersfield, and I think they'll carry that on to this game. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game today is Huddersfield versus Birmingham. So I just mentioned about Huddersfield losing very heavily to Stoke City. But the biggest news for Huddersfield is that they've appointed Neil Warnock. He returns to Huddersfield Town for 10 weeks to see if he can keep this side in the Championship. So maybe a get out of jail free card, maybe, but it could heavily backfire as well. And then we'll find Huddersfield in a desperate situation where they've got to try and recruit another manager to basically perform big results, you know, early on, and to get them out of League One. So whilst it could seem safe, it's also a massive risk as well, in my opinion there. But I definitely think for short-term purposes, I think Neil Warnock will be perfect for Huddersfield, in my opinion there. A Birmingham team that they're facing where it's just clear to me they're just really inconsistent. You know, there's almost no point in me trying to break them down, because I don't know what version we're going to get of Birmingham, unfortunately, these days. As a prediction, I'm actually going to go for back-to-back defeats. I'm just anticipating a small manager bounce with Neil Warnock coming in. I don't think he's going to make it easy for Huddersfield to stay up. I think Huddersfield will really leave themselves in a desperate situation at times. But I do think Neil Warnock has it within him to have a good start at least, and maybe get some breathing space. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Huddersfield Town. I think it's going to be close. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next up is Hull City versus Preston North End. So both teams weren't involved with the win in midweek. Hull actually had a pretty heavy defeat to Norwich City, losing by 3-1. It's their heaviest defeat since after the World Cup. And this is a Hull City side that actually have been doing very, very well with their form. So whilst Norwich have definitely been performing below expectations, they definitely must have played quite well to get a result like that against a Hull City side who actually did take the lead as well. So good mentality for Norwich, but for Hull, they definitely threw any sort of chance that they had to concede as early on as they did and to lose control of the game as early as they did as well. It's quite disappointing. They face a Preston team where they are struggling right now. I think a draw, I definitely salvaged something there, because I think that Preston were going to fall as far down as 16th had they not picked up all 3 points there. Now they've given themselves a tiny bit of breathing space and got themselves in around that 14th, 13th place following that draw now that they had against Luton. So on paper, quite a good draw against a good team, but felt that you probably got away with one Preston fans for getting a draw there. And I think against a Hull City side, which you don't tend to have a good record against, I think it's going to have to be a Hull win. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to Hull City. I think it would actually be quite a routine win by the Tigers. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next up is Luton and Burnley. So it just feels like that nothing will stop Burnley at the moment. We did have a brief moment where Burnley were put under threat, and very strangely on their home turf as well, at Turf Moor, ironically enough. Although it did come from a really poor mistake by Muric there. Whether he was ill or not, it was an awful error by any goalkeeper at any standard. But the determination that Burnley had to get that comeback is insane. They are definitely the best team of the league with mentality, squad options, and just being able to have that fear factor. I think all the championship teams have a fear factor for Burnley, and I think it definitely makes things much easier for them to reinstate some authority. Luton won't be easy. They definitely are tricky to go up against at the moment. They've definitely got a good run going on there. They may feel a tiny bit disappointed they didn't pick up all 3 points at Deepdale. I definitely think they were in cruise control for a lot of that game. They just didn't really have enough to finish Preston off, and they gave Preston too many chances to get back into it. With this game, I think it's going to be another routine win for Burnley. Despite Luton showing threat, I think it's going to be a 2-1 away victory to Burnley. I could be wrong, but I really do think this game could swing either way. So I'm going away for Burnley because they just feel the most likely team to win out of those two. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game is Middlesbrough versus QPR, the most informed team versus the worst informed team. So who am I going to know? It's going to be a QPR win written all over this, I bet. So, to explain the contrast in forms, Middlesbrough, we know from 21st to get to where they are in third and comprehensively stay in third as well. It is incredible. They are actually one of the most informed teams, not only in the Championship, but actually in the top 5 leagues, which is insane for Middlesbrough to be in that position there. They face a QPR side who have only won one game in 16 games. That's right, one game in 16 games. I cannot fathom that. That is incredible, but it's also quite scary at the same time. So I do think Neil Critchley is under some very, very pressured situations now with his QPR team. I don't think all the blame's on him, but I do think at the moment, I feel like the squad was just completely dejected when Bill left. It's almost like they gave up, and that's disappointing if they've really downed tools like in protest for them to be shafted the way that they did. They were first place, and to fall as far down as 17th is really disappointing for any standard or team just to drop that low or stoop that low in terms of that mentality. It's really appalling in my opinion. And I do think with this game, for how well, as I said, with Akpom and Archer playing the double A batteries, I think they will get a good amount of involvement in that Middlesbrough game, and they will contribute to Middlesbrough with a win here. I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to Middlesbrough. I do think they've got it within them to get past this pretty shaky QPR defence in the moment. So I'm going to go 3-1 at Middlesbrough. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next up is Rotherham Coventry. Now this is a tough game for me to predict, because Rotherham at home have actually done quite well recently. They have picked up points from most of their recent home games. And this is a Coventry team where, despite having a really good result against Millwall, they've actually lost 4 consecutive away games in a row. So I'm really conflicted on what I'm going to predict here. I mean, it could end up like a 0-0 draw. I can definitely see that happening. But I am going to go for a low-scoring game. But I'm actually going to edge Rotherham to sneak a sneaky 1-0 win. They have done it a couple of times already this season. And I definitely feel, even with their performance being quite disappointing in the end, losing to Reading, I actually felt when they took the lead, they actually did command quite well, Rotherham. But they definitely, what they did wrong there is that they just gave Reading one too many chances to really re-enter into the game. And I think if they approach the game right, and bearing in mind how Coventry have been struggling to play on the road, I think Rotherham could get something. So I'm going to go 1-0 to Rotherham. Probably the surprise result of the weekend, but I'm going to throw a couple of shocks in there. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game is Sunderland versus Bristol City. So immediately when I see this game, I see 2 teams in form and I see goals in both of these teams as well. So Sunderland picked up an impressive 3-0 away win against QPR. And by the way, how good is Amad Diallo right now? He has really emerged, in my opinion. And whilst he had a slow start, he's now really starting to show what he can offer for this Sunderland side. And Sunderland are in the top 6. This is absolutely bonkers. Bristol City have actually stretched an unbeaten run, I believe, to 5 games at least, actually. So Bristol City are now maintaining some good consistency. They disappointingly didn't win in their midweek game. They were 1-0 up against Wigan Athletic, but they did concede an equaliser, so it was 2 points dropped on their part there. They'll be wanting to get 3 in this one, but Sunderland at home, we've seen that they are not easy to beat. I think we're going to get a 2-2 draw, because originally I was going 1-1, but adding the extra X factor that they have with their forward players, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw there, and I'm hoping for a great entertaining game. Let me know what you think though in the comments down below. We've made it to the penultimate game. Next up is Wigan versus Norwich. So Wigan picked up a point in midweek. Of course, it's not free, but it's still technically 1 point closer for getting out of the relegation zone. They maintain a tiny gap from Huddersfield, who of course they didn't win, and Blackpool didn't win either. So actually Wigan, to be fair, did get a tiny distance from the other 2 relegation rivals. But following that Cardiff one, it definitely was not a good situation on their part there. They would have wanted for 3 points to push Cardiff all the way at the moment. And they didn't really do that. They are falling short a tiny bit there. And if they don't win this game, I think they will be in trouble. Norwich had a great response after being pretty poor with their form quite recently, with a 3-1 victory over an in-form Hull City side. Away from home, I don't necessarily think that Norwich are the finished article yet. I do see more goals going in for this Norwich team, and are clicking more with their build-up play and their attacking play. So I think that might help them in this game. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to Norwich. I think it's going to be very difficult for Sean Maloney to get something from this game. So I'm going to go 2-1 Norwich. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Final game to predict, guys, is Watford versus West Brom. So this is a Monday night game, I believe. So this should be a really interesting contest here. So Watford, when they managed to play midweek, obviously I just explained, they were really close to get 3 points against Burnley in Turf Moor. Very rare to get 3 points at all in Turf Moor this year. And they were denied by a last-minute equaliser. It was last-minute by Michael Obafemi as well, which was heartbreaking for this Watford team, who worked so hard to even get themselves into the position that they got. West Brom, of course, they played out a midweek game as well. A bit of a less entertaining one against Blackburn. It was the same scoreline though. It was another 1-1 draw, but likewise with Watford, led in the game, but conceded a late equaliser. So both teams will be hoping that they do not give a late equaliser away again, because both will haunt them for as long as they live if they carry on with those inconsistencies and habits there. I do think squad-wise, I don't think a lot separates them, to be honest. Maybe West Brom have the better one, or available squad, I'll call it, based on the amount of players that are currently injured for Watford at the moment. But I think Watford have coped very well, actually, on those injuries. And I think with them being at Vicarage Road there, I definitely think they may set up better. But as a prediction, with the managers, the players, and the state of both of those teams at the moment, I don't think I can separate them. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I've not predicted too many draws in my predictions, I've noticed today. But I'll go for a draw, therefore, in this game. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So guys, that is my predictions for the Championship Matchday 33 concluded. Make sure guys you comment your predictions as well, so you guys have a chance to enter the Lexalexus Football Prediction League. That will wrap it up for today. Really enjoyed this one today. If you guys enjoyed it, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help. Let's go for 30 likes. That'd be amazing if we can. Please do hit the subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner if you do want to continue seeing more content. It really does help the support on the channel. My socials are there just in case you want to follow those as well. And that'll be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary. This is the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.